What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a look at a winning Nefertari Vivi deck from Op-04. And I'm delighted, right? Because I've made absolutely no secret of the fact that with the advent of Op-04, this is the deck that I am excited about. This is the one I'm looking forward to. This is, and to put it not too subtly, this is what I've been dreaming of. And it's here, and I am absolutely delighted. Now, this is a list that went 6-0 at a tournament over in Japan. We're not talking about a championship preliminary or any of that, but we are talking about a very, very good deck, and one which has done a bunch of winning, so that seems alright by me. So starting off, of course, the leader here is Nefertari Vivi, and what we've got here is a dual colour red and blue leader, 5,000 power, 5 life, can't attack because of the 5,000 power, 5 life as a dual colour, but activate main once per turn. You can pay 2 Don, draw a card, and then give one of your characters rush. So you've got draw and you're getting rush at the same time. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of rush. This is awesome. I like this very much indeed. Now, in terms of the characters here, we've got ourselves a placer of the 1-cost Nami. On play, look at 5 cards on the top of your deck, reveal a Straw Hat crew other than Nami, add it to your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. It's the Op-01 Nami that goes and searches out your Straw Hats. It's phenomenal in any deck that's playing Straw Hats. Playing a playset here seems like a pretty easy decision. We've also got ourselves a full playset coming in here of Izzo. Now, Izzo is not a Straw Hat, unfortunately. What we do have is 1 cost 2,000 power counter plus 1,000, and it's the same as Nami, except it gets Whitebeard Pirates. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a card with Whitebeard Pirates other than Izzo, add it to your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. It is literally the same card, except it goes for Whitebeard Pirates, not Straw Hat. And the whole point of this deck is you are trying to get rush going, but you need to be getting the right cards at the right time. That's pretty important. So being able to search these cards out at will sounds like a pretty good thing to me. Now, we've also got ourselves a couple copies coming in here of Igram. This is one of the new cards from Op-04. 2 cost 3,000 power and counter plus 1,000. And what we've got here is activate main. You may rest this character and give one of your active leaders minus 5,000 power. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal an Alabaster card, add it to your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, this is a once per turn thing. And the minus 5,000 power to the leader really doesn't matter because, as previously mentioned, you're not allowed to attack with your leader anyway. So putting your leader down to 0 power really doesn't worry you very much at all. And this is just another way to go and search out the cards you're actually looking for. And that sounds alright by me. We're going to obviously need some cards to attack with at some point, but we've got lots of searchers. Now, we've also got ourselves a couple copies of Brook here. Now, this is the Brook that originally came around in Starter Deck 1, and that's the one where 2 costs 3,000 power, counter plus 2,000, because we always need counter plus 2,000 coming in somewhere. Countering's important. But on play, give your leader or one of your characters 2 rested Don, which can actually be really important in this deck, because you can give yourself rush. So being able to give yourself rush, but then in the same turn, give yourself a bit of a boost of power from Brook as well, that could actually be a pretty big deal, honestly. So, yeah, this is something you should be watching. This is pretty gosh darn cool. And then we got ourselves a playset of Chaka, another one of the new cards from Op-04. 3 cost 5,000 power, you don't have any counter, but Don X1 when attacking, if your leader is Nefertari Vivi, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less. Important to note, this is when attacking, so could potentially be done every single turn, which is a pretty big deal. And you're lowering power and then just getting rid of a character. Getting rid of characters is good. This gives you a little bit of disruption, a little bit of removal. This is a very good thing indeed. Now we have ourselves a playset of Jozu here. This shouldn't really surprise anyone. This is obviously Whitebeard Pirates, and we've seen we can search for that. But you've got counter plus 2,000. And if you have 2 or less life and your leader has Whitebeard Pirates in his type, this character gains Rush. You may have noticed at this stage that Nefertari Vivi does not have Whitebeard Pirates in her type. She's just got Alabaster Kingdom. Which means you don't actually get the second skill here. You literally just get the counter plus 2,000. But you've got a decent amount of power, and you've got counter plus 2,000, and that's honestly where we're going here. And it's definitely the right card. Like, we don't have a great look, but this is the only 4-cost red character with counter plus 2,000. So it's definitely not the wrong card. It definitely is Jozu. And essentially what we're saying here is, look, it's a decently powerful character, but it's also counter plus 2,000, and those two together, mashed together, that sounds all right by me. That'll do, pig. That'll do. And then we've got one of the other Whitebeard Pirates. We've got Marco. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And you've got Blocker. And on KO, you can trash a card from your hand with Whitebeard Pirates in its type. And if you've got 2 or less life cards, play this character from your trash rested. So it's a blocker, but it's a blocker that keeps coming back throughout the game. If you can keep just discarding the right card from your hand, you can essentially just keep playing this and just keep a blocker on the field. There's a reason why Whitebeard Pirate decks have been playing this. Although this isn't your traditional Whitebeard Pirate deck, because Vivi's not a Whitebeard Pirate, there is enough of it here to make it work. Oh, speaking of Whitebeard Pirates and Marco, we're also playing the 5-cost Marco here. That's coming in as well. This is one from Op-04. 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. On your turn, on play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. Not the first one we've seen that can take out one of your opponent's characters. This is something you want to be doing where you can. And then on KO, you can trash an event card from your hand and play this character from the trash rested. But remember, the on-play only works on your turn, so you can do this on your opponent's turn, come back, and that's lovely, but you don't get the skill. And yes, we are playing a few extra event cards here. I didn't realize, and I've just gone past the Paramount War bit in the manga. I now understand who Marco is and what his Devil Fruit power is. And now I look at these 2 Marco cards and I'm like, oh yeah, that's extremely cool. That makes perfect sense. And yeah, I appreciate this. I appreciate it very much indeed. Now, we do need a couple of big heavy hitters here. We have a couple. We've got ourselves a couple copies of Ace. This is the super rare Ace that came around in Op-02. I bought a random pack of Op-02 in London when I went there recently, and I got this out of my random pack. And that made me very happy. Random super rare, and a good one to boot. Yeah, that was nice. That was a nice little surprise. What does it do? 7 cost, 7,000 power on play. Give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. And then if your leader has Whitebeard Pirates, you gain Rush. But obviously you don't gain Rush because you don't have a Whitebeard Pirates leader. But you can give it Rush with Vivi. And again, you're still got a 7,000 power character, you're still doing minus 3,000 power to 2 of your opponent's characters, knowing that that can help other characters you play get KOs. Make no mistake about it, you might be missing out a little bit here, but it is only a little bit. And I know it's weird seeing that a couple of these characters specifically want you to play Whitebeard Pirates and you're not, but remember, you can still get Rush, and a lot of the time, remember, these are, Ace is a Whitebeard Pirate, and we've got card that can search for Whitebeard Pirates, so you're combining the power and the fact that we're playing characters can search for them and the other skills, and it does kind of make sense. Now, up to now, you're probably thinking, Wossy. You're telling me this is a dual color leader, but you've only been showing me mono-color cards. Surely there's a blue character. There's 2 copies of the new Kaido. And I like the new Kaido. 10 cost, 12,000 power. Which is actually kind of awkward, because of course you need to pay 2 to give somebody Rush with Vivi, but you can't pay 2 to give Kaido Rush, because you need to spend all of your 10 to play Kaido, but it's still a gigantic character, and then you return up to 1 character of a cost of 8 or less, and a character of a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. Great removal, gigantic character. We like this very, very much indeed. It's cool, honestly. I mean, anytime you can get this Kaido and Vivi into a deck, this makes me very happy indeed. As a side note, I am still a gigantic fan of the Secret Rare Vivi, which gives all of your red characters of a cost of 3 or more Rush. It's not played in this particular deck, to be clear, and I think you would have to rebuild the deck a bit for it to make sense, because you've got a lot of smaller characters here, and Kaido's blue, so it doesn't really work with Kaido. I get it, but it's still a card I like. Now, I did say we would need a bunch of events here so that we can really make the most of Marco, and the good news is we do have them. We've got ourselves the free event, Bad Manners Kick Course. Counter lets you trash a card from your hand. Your leader or character gains 3,000 power during the battle. And as a trigger, you give up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. Not bad for 0 cost, but again, very much worth bearing in mind. You're not necessarily going to play all of these events. Some of these events are really just being used as fodder for Marco. You need to keep that in mind. We also have some 1-cost red events coming in here because, 0 cost is nice, but still, might want to have some 1-cost in here and there. We've got ourselves Radical Beam. This is the one from Op-01, and counter gives your leader or one of your characters plus 2,000 power. And then if you've got 2 or less life, you get plus 4,000 instead. As a trigger, you just gain an extra 1,000. It's not amazing. But again, we've got a 1-cost event card here, which is pretty cheap. And once again, you're not necessarily going to be playing this here. Sometimes this is going to be used as fodder for Marco. You have been warned. We've also got ourselves a full play set coming in here of Happiness Punch. Now, this is your 1-cost card, and as a no trigger, and as a counter, you give up to one of your opponent's leaders or character cards minus 2,000 power for the turn, and then if your leader is active, give up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 1,000 power. Bearing in mind a lot of the time your leader will be active because of the whole you're not allowed to attack with it thing. And again, we've got cheap cards that could end up being useful, but even if they're not that useful, you still get to use them potentially for Marco, so it's not the end of the world. And then we actually get some blue event cards coming in here as well. We might only have had 2 copies of one blue character, but when it comes to event cards, we've got some nice ones. Like 3,000 Worlds. 4 cost, place up to 1 character of a cost of 5 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. And we've already seen this deck plays a bunch of removal. This is some extra removal that will work very nicely indeed. And then as a trigger, you place a character of a cost of 3 or less to the bottom of its owner's deck. It's a decent removal card. And again, this is a deck that is playing a bunch of removal, so it makes perfect sense to include it in there. And then we've got ourselves the 6-cost Gum Gum Red Rock, which is finding its way into a bunch of decks lately, because it places any character at the bottom of its owner's deck, regardless of size, or as a trigger, a 4-cost or less to the bottom of the deck. Hopefully here you get some nice triggers, you get some extra removal, but you'll notice a lot of these event cards, both the blue ones especially, they're working here as removal, along with the other stuff we've seen like Kaido, and we're working on a lot of removal in this deck, so we can then take advantage of just going and smashing. I like this. This makes me very happy indeed. Like I say, this went 6-0. This was tweeted out by SYURAIA. Suraya? Something along those lines. But this is a very strong deck. No, it hasn't gone and won a massive tournament over in Japan yet, but it did go 6-0, and if it's going to go 6-0, that sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. Tell me if you like Vivi. Tell me if you'd build it this way. Tell me if you'd build it slightly differently. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.